Welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge. Hope you're all well. And tonight we are talking about one of the greatest British heavy metal bands of all time. And that, of course, is the mighty Motörhead. And the tour from 1987, which was the rock and roll tour. So we'd all seen them in 1986 at Donington Monsters of Rock on the Orgasmatron tour. And we were really excited to go and see them in one of the smaller theatres, not a million miles away from where we all grew up, called the Reading Hexagon, which back in the day was actually known for snooker. Snooker looping.
Yeah,
well, indeed.
No. So anyway, not that night. It was Sword and Motörhead. So evening, guys. Hope you're all well.
all good, mate.
All good.
All good. Was Sword from Canada, by the way, or not?
It rings a bell. Yeah.
I think we probably missed them because we were backstage talking to Lemmy.
Well.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Well, anyway, what I didn't mention at the beginning, that this gig was pretty much like a gig of two halves, and we will explain that as we go through the podcast. It was an interesting one, to say the least. Anyway, one not to be forgotten. So the lineup had changed, Gav, right? So there was an exciting re-addition to the band.
Yeah, randomly, Pete Gill lasted 1.5 albums, and then we got Filthy Animal Taylor back again, which is obviously great for all Motörhead fans. Not that we don't like Pete Gill because he was brilliant, but yeah, you've got the another Motörhead classic lineup, and lots of them with silly names, including Wurzel. Did he do another album after this? He did, didn't he?
Yeah, he lasted until about 2004, I think. I think he did 5 or 6.
Oh, okay, cool.
He was in the band. He was in the band a while, and I guess the one thing that really stands out from that photo: look how young Phil Campbell looks in that photo.
Yeah,
looks
and
like
his hair as well.
And look at the other 3 reprobates. Anyway, we'll get to those.
It's a good.
They're all younger than what we are now. Then
they are mental. Anyway, we'll get to those guys in a sec. So they've released a single leading as part of the album, which is called Eat the Rich, and this also went alongside a comic strip mini film called Eat the Rich as well. So if you've not seen that, I'm sure you'll be able to find it on YouTube. I can highly recommend it. It's great fun. All the normal actors involved in the production, and definitely worth it. Gav, I don't know if you've got this on. Is this your 12-inch? Or?
No, it's not. I've never seen this before. I haven't got it, and until I researched it, I've never seen that sleeve before. Have you?
No, I've never seen that.
No. It's really odd. I ended up thinking it wasn't UK, but it is. So, and let us know below why this was kind of hidden. At the time, I definitely was aware of the film. I was definitely aware that Lemmy wrote the theme tune, if you like, and that he had a cameo in the film. So I'm completely aware of it being a single. I've just never seen it before. Maybe it came in a blank, plain sleeve or something. But there you go.
Okay, well, there it is. Look, I'm going to search out the film again later and rewatch it. From memory, it was great fun. I think I think the lead character was a normal working class bother boy, and I think the story goes from memory that he's eating all these politicians and eating the rich politicians or something along those lines. So bit like the Fleet Street Barber back in the day. But anyway, that's another story. So if we can go to the album. So really cool cover.
Very cool cover. Yeah.
Probably one of their best, arguably. I think Gilbus got the album. This was their second offering on GWR. And
correct.
And the inner cover is quite cool as well, because this was back to quite like the No Sleep to Hammersmith with the all the little photos on the inner cover. So that's pretty funky if you've not got that. Let's have a quick chat around the album. So, Gaps, what were your views on the album?
Well, being a Motörhead fan, I was really looking forward to it. And Orgasmatron was the first Motörhead album I got when it came out the year before. So really looking forward to this one coming out. Didn't think it stood up to Orgasmatron, to be honest. I mean, the production on Orgasmatron is a bit different, to say the least, from what they'd done before. But the production on this album is not very good, in my opinion. Lemmy's bass is very, very trebly. In fact, the whole production is very trebly. There's not much bottom to this album at all.
The drums sound weird.
Does distract from it.
the drums sound really weird on this.
I thought the drums were the best part of it, to be honest.
Yeah, just for me, I just don't think they sounded great. But what do you think, Gav?
Yeah, they're quite boomy, aren't they? They're not tight sounding, but yeah, they sound all right.
Lemmy's vocals come through really well, but that's because it was produced by him and I can't remember the name of the guy who produced it.
Biddy Mead.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, the production really detracts from the songs. I'm not a particular fan of Rock and Roll, the title track. I think one of the others, maybe Traitor, should have gone first. Eat the Rich was the single. Again, not really good. The album doesn't start for me until Black Heart, which is a great song, and Stone Deaf in the USA, Traitor, Dogs, All For You, which is a very melodic song with even some harmony backing vocals in it, which is really good. And real rock and roller to end with Boogeyman, which is a brilliant track. Again, it's got a funky bass bit at the beginning with Lemmy doing it, and the bass just doesn't sound right at all. But all in all, it is a good album, and we were really looking forward to seeing them at Reading.
So we were excited. Jam, did you get a copy of the album when it came out?
No, I really wasn't. We'd seen them the year before, and Motörhead were about, and a lot of you guys were totally into them, but I never. These are one of those bands that I sort of let pass me by. I was a bit of a vocal connoisseur. I didn't go on Lemmy's vocals back then.
Yeah, you didn't like Lemmy, did you?
Which, considering, and I wasn't really into rock that was like rock and roll. When it was like, I liked metal or the AOR American stuff, and Motörhead didn't float me. It's just weird because I listened to a lot of that stuff, but I didn't go out of my way. Of course,
famously, Lemmy never thought of Motörhead as a heavy metal band anyway.
That was a real standard.
Always called them a rock and roll band.
Yeah, and they were a rock and roll band. I was listening to this record the other day, obviously knowing I was doing this. I thought, let me have a listen. And there were some tracks. There was like one quite thrashy track which I quite liked. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. But some of the actual just rock and roll, heavy rock and roll with the distorted bass, and it just didn't turn me on, to be honest.
Okay. The strange thing is when you listen to the album on Spotify, dare I say it, the production changes. I don't know if they've taken sound or the masters from different sources or something, but it really sounds different song to song.
Yeah.
I don't remember that on the album. But,
well, that's what I was listening to it on Amazon, because there are other streaming.
Yeah, it's odd.
And it came in when you were talking about production. That was interesting because I was thinking, actually, I kept thinking it kept very, it sounded different, but yeah, it
does. It's sort of more trebly and different volumes, like it's a compilation. But this probably Stone Deaf in the USA. Does this mark the Lemmy falling in love with LA?
Well, I was just going to say that. You listen to the lyrics of that. He's talking about
around the time he moved.
I think he was certainly in and around London at that time, because as we'll go on to talk in a few minutes about when we arrived at the venue, we were fortunate enough to meet Lemmy and the band, and it wasn't the first time that we met him, as we met him a few times at the Marquee over the next couple of years. But I think you're right, Gav. I think then the end of 80s, early 90s, he moved and relocated to LA. So you're right. In between Stone Deaf in the USA and The Wolf, there's a brilliant piece which is almost like I'm guessing it's supposed to be the Archbishop of Canterbury, and it's
straight out of nowhere. It's very strange.
Fits in really well with the comic strip and all the things that he was involved with at the time. But it's brilliant. It's really funny.
Friend of the band, Michael Palin.
Yeah, it's hilarious, isn't it? It's really, really good.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really well written as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love the way he says Motörhead.
Motörhead. These people from Motörhead.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that's a thing. I literally listened to this last week, and I was like, "What's going on?" I went out for a walk with my earpods in, and I was like, "What's going on?"
You probably thought something else had crashed in on top of it, didn't you?
I didn't honestly know what was going on, and it freaked me out. I was like, I don't understand, but yeah,
it's hilarious.
Well, it's classic. So you got Stone Deaf in the USA, then The Wolf, which is a great tune. All For You, I always sort of think is probably almost like Motörhead's ballad, really. Whilst it's not a ballad.
It harks back to a few of the tracks on Another Perfect Day when Brian Robinson was in the band. It's very, very melodic. It's even got backing vocals in it, harmony backing vocals as well, which is
it's good.
Very strange to hear on a Motörhead song. Okay. But I love that song. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Okay, so probably a semi thumbs up for the album across the team here. So let's go to let's go to the gig. So It was on Thursday, the 8th of October, 1987. So we went with Paulo, who drove us in his trusty Fiat Uno from memory. It was an old red Fiat Uno, and we rocked up at the nice and early. And we also managed to get a couple of bits from the merch stand beforehand. So Gav got a T-shirt, which he was very proud of, which he wore for many years afterwards. Which
I
was
got that T-shirt as well. I didn't manage to have it for very long.
He
Got
did,
a
and
photo of it later.
he also wore that to Monsters Rock in Germany the following year, so that was cool. And also
T-shirt.
to band practices and many other things. So there's a photo of that in a minute. But we also managed to pick up some programs, and we also managed to pick up, which I'm sure Gav's going to show you, we also managed to pick up some caps as well, which was pretty cool. So we got those, then went backstage, or from memory, it was around the side where the tour bus was, and as if by magic, the band all came out en masse and came and met us all. Yes, one of us was on crutches, and I'd been on crutches. Well, I did end up on crutches for 3 months. I dislocated my kneecap and ruptured my cruciate ligaments, and was not in a particularly good way. You'll be glad to know I did still end up on the front row, though. So, and they had to take the crutches off me, and we'll explain a little bit about that later in terms of the atmosphere in the venue. But yeah, you've got a copy of the program, Gav, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think it's framed though. I was trying to look for it, so I have got a framed item to show you.
Me too. Mine's framed too.
That's where my program is, so I can't show you it. But that is the cover of the program in the middle there, and it's a good program. It's just relatively cheap and cheerful, but I couldn't find anything online that showed the inside pages either, so otherwise I would have included it.
They were still playing those venues right the way through the 90s, 2000s. I mean, I saw the Cambridge Corn Exchange a couple of times in the 2000s. So, so you could say they were in the home leg of this tour.
Yeah. No Sleep Till Hammersmith.
Yes. Okay.
I find it interesting that Nottingham literally just gets to have Rock City. How metal does that sound instead of saying Nottingham on there?
Yeah.
Love it. But how dare they miss Oxford out? I mean, Oxford, we were lucky enough, as we say on a lot of our pods, if you check out our pods, obviously if everyone can subscribe, if you're watching now, you probably already subscribed, but if you can make sure you subscribe, and you'll see a lot of our gigs around this time, we were youngsters, around this time we were just about driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to catch so many bands at the Oxford Apollo, as it was known then. And they chose not to do Oxford. Hence, the boys decided to get on our bikes to get out to Reading.
I'm guessing 5 Star Cameo were playing Oxford that night.
Yeah.
Didn't make it, so.
All the other metal
They
bands.
didn't do Oxford on the Orgasmatron tour either, but they did do it on the Another Perfect Day tour.
Okay, so let's go to the set list now. Right, let's just
we focus in on the picture first, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will realise that.
Let's do the picture. Go on, Gab.
Lemmy's playing a Gibson instead of his normal Rickenbacker, which I've never seen before in my life. So that's absolutely brilliant. That picture.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and that picture below looks like it looks like something off the Tube, doesn't it? I don't know whether it's probably Hammersmith or somewhere, but
no, it's taken from a TV show. No, not a TV show. It's taken from a live video that was done in Europe after this.
Okay.
That would be I don't remember him playing that bass, but he might have done. I don't think I was looking that closely at the time.
You wouldn't have been in those days. Anyway, we piled into the venue. We were all on the front row, all really pleased with ourselves. The security took my crutches off of me, and I was in plaster as well on the front row, as you can probably appreciate. And you could feel the atmosphere and the tension within the crowd heightening before Motörhead came on. Now, it is my understanding that a band called Sword was support.
They were from Canada, because I just Googled it.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So
rings a bell. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I did have a listen to them actually last week. They sound quite good, to be fair. That album that was out the year before, don't ask me what it was. But look, if anyone knows anything about Sword, please get involved, reply in the comments, etc. So, the atmosphere in the crowd was building, and for those of you that knew Reading in the day, whether it's anything to do with Reading Rock Festival, well, Reading was just a weird place. I mean, it was the only place that I ever got punched in the face from many nightclub visits, etc. It was the only place that you seemed to have a real eclectic mix of punks, skins, mods. They were all in Reading. Don't ask me why. just a weird place, wasn't it?
I mean, around this time, it was actually around this time I had an incident in Reading. I was working. I was in a suit and tie. I was 18. I was walking down the street, and I was in a suit and tie, and I had a scarf. I mean, granted, it was an Oxford United scarf, but I just had a scarf on because it was cold. And a localite literally came and ripped my scarf around my neck. Said if he saw me with that on again, he's gonna knife me. And I'm like, okay,
Lovely.
Nice.
take my knife. I just
nice.
go on my way. Reading always had a bit of a strange vibe.
There was an undercurrent, wasn't there? Anyway, suffice to say, before the gig started, a skinhead had chucked himself off the balcony and had subsequently stretched out and ended up in an ambulance. So you can imagine how it probably gives you an idea of what the atmosphere and it was going to end up being like. Now, we'd all been at Donington the year before, and Lemmy, I think, even then had sort of said, look, no to the missiles, etc. He was really keen about this. And
yeah, that's a good point. It was a hot subject because of Donington, wasn't it? And he hates that sort of thing. So what did they go and do?
Yeah, so of course out they came, and as you can probably appreciate, with that type of crowd, and look, they were plastic glasses, so it wasn't glasses from memory anyway. There was just, the crowd were going absolutely nuts. There were missiles flying everywhere. And I don't know how soon into the gig, I think it was pretty soon, maybe it was Stay Clean. I think they'd stopped quite early on into the gig, hadn't they? And from memory, they walked off quite early on. Do you guys remember any of that?
Yeah, it was plastic pint glasses, I think, but they were, some of them were full. So I guess it was the liquid they were objecting to as much as the projectiles. And I think, they stopped the show and a little bit like they did at Donington, and Lemmy just said, we're going to walk off if you don't stop this shit. We don't tolerate this. And then obviously, like the dickheads they just made them do it even more. So we can't remember what song they got to, but they probably did a third of the set.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing Eat the Rich.
Yeah.
So that would have been it. And then the security waded into the crowd and started punching people. So that was when we decided to make our exit.
Well, we left I think we stayed quite, from memory gaps, because I was in plaster.
Yeah.
And this is a bit I remember really well, that I was in plaster and I was waiting to get my crutches back. Now, as they went, I think they went off for the second time, and whether that was at Metropolis or Eat the Rich, it was quite early on into the set. So
it felt really early, didn't it?
We hadn't had our £6 worth. Let's put it that way.
No.
We probably had £2 worth of what we should have had, right? So
this is why we put the Hammersmith set up, people, because if we put up what we saw, it would be a lot shorter.
And there's no reference on the jolly old internet, because we've all trawled through it to have a look, and we can't find anything.
So I'm sure
somebody
else was there. So please try and remind us of exactly what happened. But anyway, the auditorium or the theatre cleared with riot police and security. I remember 5 or 6 riot vans outside the venue. I had to wait to get my crutches back. I think they were reticent to give me the crutches, given the full-scale riot that was ensuing behind us. I didn't get involved with those weapons. Anyway, we made a quiet exit, and for us, I mean, that's the only gig I think I ever remember where sometimes gigs finish early because the plug gets pulled because there's a curfew. But I don't ever remember a gig in all my years finishing because there was a riot going on.
That was mental. It was very, very scary because we were all really young. No, it was scary. Like when that security lot waded in and started throwing punches, it was because they were itching for a fight. That security lot.
Yeah, they were.
They really were. They were bad dudes.
There were riot vans everywhere outside. I mean, I guess we would all been done by 9:30, and we were off back to the local pub at home. So anyway, there's always a silver lining to every bad story, and we did manage to pick up some amazing bits and pieces. So I think as you're looking at the screen on the right hand side, Gav, I think that's your program, isn't it? I'll get mine.
So this is the center of the program. If you can see that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, I mean, how often, when in life do you ever have the same pen that they all sign, you know, together, silver pen. I mean, it looks so brilliant, and so lucky to have got that, you know, and especially lucky now that, you know, 3 out of the 4 have passed on. You know,
Yeah.
it's totally brilliant, and they were really nice guys, weren't they? Really friendly, really willing to sign stuff.
And how awesome that you've got
Well,
that.
our good friend Borlo, his first his opening gambit when Lemmy came out. You got any roadie jobs?
Yeah.
and Lemmy went into chapter and verse about why he didn't want to become a roadie. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Tried to talk him out of it, which is brilliant. So there's mine. That's
he ignored thoroughly.
He's a roadie to this day.
Yeah,
he is. So that's the back of the program, which I've got frame. I love that with the War Pig on, which is amazing.
That's brilliant.
One memory for me from that, obviously meeting the band was amazing, but Lemmy actually gave me a pint of vodka and orange. He obviously could tell I needed it.
I thought you were going to gloss over that for a minute. I was just
about
to
I
mention
think it's amazing. How could I ever forget that? It's like I never kept it, but he gave me a pint of vodka and orange. And funnily enough, I think it maybe have coincided with the move to LA. Gav, he then moved on to Jack Daniels and Coke, famously.
There you go. Yeah, so that still makes him a Brit, doesn't it?
Probably fits quite well. But yeah, it was amazing. And despite the fact that we only saw them for a few songs, we didn't. Yeah, you used to have one of those gaps, right?
I used to have one of those, but I wore it every day, and it hit the deck. I'm afraid.
Mine's really faded, and I've never had it in the sun.
Yeah, it's just if you look at the back part of it, Gav, mine's like that. It looks really old.
Yeah.
And I don't know if yours is like that inside.
Yeah, that's completely.
It's really cool. One of the things I do like is Filthy
treasured possessions.
Filthy signs it Filthy Animal. I mean, how cool is that? It's brilliant. Absolutely superb. So so that was absolutely amazing. That's the cap. There's Gav playing in the Merchants of Grief with his mighty t-shirt on.
Absolutely love that t-shirt.
Merchants of Grief.
You did love that t-shirt. It looks absolutely brilliant. Okay,
it doesn't say Motörhead on it either. It's just that logo. It's brilliant.
Yeah. You know, everyone knew that was Motörhead. Motörhead on the back though, didn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and the tour day.
I think it had the tour
you still got yours, Gav?
No, I bought an Orgasmatron t-shirt from Donington the year before. I don't think I bought a t-shirt that night. I bought the program and the cap and got them both signed. I'm pretty sure I didn't get a t-shirt that night, which is unusual for me, to be fair. Anyway, so we all went home happy with our signed loot and booty, and tour and store. Look, when you go back to college and work and stuff the next day, and you're telling everyone the gig was cancelled because there was a riot, and you know that's quite cool. And who else but Motörhead, right? So my mum had her head in her hands the next morning, going, "Oh God." No surprise. Anyway, what came next, Gav? So you put a couple of things on here.
Yeah, I just put this in there because it basically has it's a live album. So Motörhead England was the next GWR release, I guess, to buy them some time and to celebrate the new lineup. But effectively, it's this tour, so it mimics the Hammersmith set list quite closely. I really like that cover as well, the old flight case.
Yeah, it's great.
Later to be ripped off by Metallica for their live Binge and Purge. But and that I haven't got this album, so I don't know how good it is. Have you got it, Gaps?
No, I haven't got it either.
No. But it's that tour and that lineup, so pretty good.
We touched on some of the streaming, so I think we've mentioned Amazon and who was the other one? Spotify,
yeah.
On Apple, if you download the deluxe edition of Rock and Roll, there's the live set of Donington.
That's right. Yeah, same on Spotify. Yeah,
and it's absolutely brilliant. Now, my understanding is they're going to release that this year as an album, the Donington set. So I was hoping it was going to be part of Record Store Day this year, but it's not. They're re-releasing No Remorse as Remorse No. So that was the one. Gaps, you probably bought that when it came out. I know there were 4 original tracks in that album.
Actually,
but you would have bought that before Rock and Roll. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it would take 5, wasn't it? But we ended up meeting Lemmy a few times at the Marquee in various other different bands and guys. Seeing our different bands and guys is at the old Marquee in Wardour Street.
Propping up the bar,
playing the used to play there was a slot machine, and there was also like a Space Invader type machine he used to play all the time as well. But he was cool. He used to talk to everyone. I mean, he was great, wasn't he?
You just had to buy him a drink. That was the only criteria.
Yeah. What brilliant days, weren't they?
And the same, I saw him and said hello to him at the Rainbow in Hollywood as well, where he did the same thing.
Yeah.
I went in there 2 or 3 times, and he was there every time. It's not just a cliche. He was there. He got his post delivered there, apparently. The bar lady used to just give him his post. But yeah, and he was the same there. And you know, you could chat to him, and people did, and had photos with him and stuff. He was just a good lad. No one ever had a bad word to say about him, did they?
No, they didn't. And if you look at many of the other bands like Metallica, Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, of course, they've got nothing but great words to say about Lemmy. He was the archetypal rock and roll star.
Yeah, absolutely. He lived it, didn't he? He lived that life.
So rest in peace, Lemmy. We love you, mate. So
absolutely.
Right. Look, check us out on our live channel on Tales from the PowerAge. There's some new videos gone on recently, some brilliant vids that Jam took Judas Priest and Saxon. So check those out. We've also got some recent videos from Slash, who was absolutely amazing the other night with Miles Kennedy. I'm not going to lie. He was absolutely sensational. We've got loads of stuff coming up over the course of the next few months, so check it out. With some really, really good acts that we've got lined up. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us online on www.talesfromthepowerage.com. You can have a chat with us on Twitter. We're regularly engaging with a bunch of people on Twitter on Tales from the PowerAge at TTFTPR. So please get involved. If you want to buy some merch, you can on redbubble.com. But if you could do us a real favour, if you don't want to buy some merch, do us a favour. Please ring the Hell's Bell. Give us a sub. Please get involved. Give us a like. Give us some comments. And if anyone else was that amazing gig in Reading that night, please let us know. Because
we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we would. Yeah. And you can tell us when the last song was or what song stopped halfway through. Look, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. See you later. Bye.
Yeah,
See ya.
Cheers, people.